Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams, and this morning it's a privilege to have back as a guest Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett. He's held the office of mayor for a decade now, and he's here today to give us some insight on what's going on right here in our city. Good morning, Mayor Barrett.
Good morning, Andrea. It's great to be back in your show.
Oh, I am so happy to have you here. You always are so accommodating. I appreciate that. And there are quite a few things that we need to talk about today. The last time you were here, we discussed a trip you had taken to the White House, and you got some insight on violence with President Barack Obama. And since then, a lot of things have happened, including your State of the City address. So let's talk about the most recent thing that you're passionate about, and that is a Senate bill that has recently been signed by Governor Scott Walker. Talk about that.
Well, last week the governor signed into law a new bill that limits the time that people can go to the polls prior to the election day. And this is one of the most pernicious pieces of legislation I've seen, because it's brought forth under the cloak of uniformity, that shouldn't every community in the state have the same hours? Well, if we're talking about fairness or uniformity, I think the question would be, well, shouldn't each voter have the same opportunity to vote in the same time period? My point there is the city of Milwaukee is allowed one site only for 600,000 people. So we have to jam 600,000 people through this one site in now this truncated period of time. In rural areas, in suburban areas, they don't have as many people.
Right.
They might have 1,200 people or 20,000 people. But even if they had 40,000 people, that would mean for every one person that's voting in one of those areas, we're going to have 15 through this. So this is all about making it more difficult for people in cities like Milwaukee to vote prior to an election. And what's amazing about this is if you look at the percentage of people who vote early in Milwaukee before the elections, it's much lower than it is in some places like Whitefish Bay, because it's more difficult right now. If you were to say, how long does it take you to get downtown from the northwest part of the city of Milwaukee? If you've got a car, it takes you 25 minutes. If you're taking a bus, it's going to take you 2 hours. But people have to go downtown. So to me, don't let anybody fool you. This is about making it more difficult for people in a city like Milwaukee, where there's more Democratic voters, to vote. This is voter suppression.
And it goes right along with the ID. And so where are we going to go from here? Do you
Well, there's a lawsuit right now dealing with the voter ID, but add that to this equation. Let's say that there's the voter ID bill. Now you've got these shortened hours as well. Their intent is to discourage people from voting. And I want your viewers to know that. That's what the goal is. It's to discourage people from voting.
Wow.
And I think that people in Wisconsin, regardless of what their partisan background is or what their leanings are, most people have this notion of fair play. This is not fair play.
Yeah. Well, thank you for shedding some light on that, and I know we're definitely going to hear more about it. In your recent State of the City address, you spoke of job creation, which is a very important thing. What are your thoughts on the growth of Milwaukee's private sector?
Well, we need to grow more jobs. We know that. We've had some successes, but we have to do more. We're very, very proud, for example, that Northwestern Mutual is going to be having this major expansion in downtown Milwaukee, where it will create and save 3,000 jobs. We're ecstatic about the progress we've seen in the Menominee Valley, where 6 years ago you needed an all-terrain vehicle to get from one end of the valley to the other.
So
now
true.
it's teeming with jobs.
Yes.
The old Pabst Brewery site is successful. But then there's other places, like the old A.O. Smith site, the Tower Automotive site on 35th and Capitol. We're investing a lot of money there. We're investing money in the area just south of the Harley-Davidson Museum. We call it the Reed Street Yards, to create water-related jobs there. So we want to make sure that people in this city can have jobs where they can support their families. And that's one of the big issues we face, is we've got too much poverty. We have too many people who don't have jobs where they can support their families. And that has ramifications when it comes to crime, when it comes to education.
All of the issues that we talk about on this show, very important. Speaking of jobs, the summer months are right around the corner, thank goodness for that. But youth employment has been a signature priority for you since you've been in office. And so you have your Earn and Learn program. And I know that a lot of young people have already signed up. But just for people who are unaware, Tell us more about that.
Well, what I want to do this summer is I want to put 3,000 kids to work. This is going to need some heavy lifting from the private sector. And I get on the phones on almost a daily basis and call businesses and ask them to contribute to this. They can contribute at the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. But if we're going to break the cycle of poverty, that means we're going to have to teach the young people not only the value of work, but that there is an opportunity for them to have a job. That's what's missing in too many neighborhoods in the city. So I really think that this is, in many ways, a way for us 5, 10, 15 years from now to have lower crime in the city if we can get young kids at the earliest age possible knowing what the value of work is.
Absolutely, and making their own money, which, you know, is not something a lot of kids are
Everybody
able to do.
likes to make their
Yeah,
own money.
absolutely.
Everybody likes to make their own money.
Absolutely. And over the years, you've actually hired 20,000 young people, so I think it's a great program. Thank you for sharing information with us on that. And a couple of things that have been challenges over the years, of course, is the teen pregnancy rate and then the fire deaths that we see in the city, but there is some progress, and I'm sure it makes you very proud to be able to say that.
Well, those are two places where we have made significant progress because several years ago we set a goal to reduce the teen pregnancy rate by 46% by 2015. What we found is we didn't have to wait till 2015. We have cut the teenage pregnancy rate in this city by 50%.
That's awesome.
That's
that is awesome.
Amazing. And when it comes to fire safety, last year we had the lowest number of recorded deaths in the history of the city. 2 people died, that's 2 people too many. But that's pretty amazing, and it shows you the great fire department we've got and the training we've got.
Absolutely, and we've had one of the firefighters to come on and talk about the efforts of going door to door and actually making sure people know what they need to know and actually install those smoke alarms for them. So it's all coming together, and you guys all work together, so that's what it's all about. So congratulations. And what has been your biggest success so far while in office?
Well, there's a number of things we're proud of. You mentioned the teen pregnancy rate. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of the economic development work we have done, like I said, in the Menominee Valley. That's very, very important. The Summer Youth Employment Program. I want this to be a city that's a safe city, and I say in very simplistic terms, but very vivid terms, I want this to be a city where in every neighborhood, grandmas can sit on their front porch in the summertime and watch their grandkids play in the front yard.
Yes.
And we've had successes in reducing the crime level in the city. We had a bump last year. We had too many homicides last year. But I've got a lot of confidence in the police chief and the police force that we can turn that around this year.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of quality of life and being able to sit on your porch and really just enjoy outdoor living, you've made it clear that you want to improve the quality of life for several neighborhoods here in our city. You have a program or an initiative called the TIN program?
The TIN program, which stands for Targeted Investment in Neighborhoods.
Okay.
And what that does is it allows people who own their homes to get a loan, which would then transform into a grant. And what I mean by that is we give you a loan to help fix up your house if you live in one of these TIN neighborhoods. And we've got one, Pulaski on the south side, Martin Drive on the north side, Sherman Park. These are 3 that we just added. And if you stay in your home long enough, we'll forgive that loan over a period of time. So we don't want to give it to someone and have them turn around and sell the house right away.
Right.
But if they're invested literally in the neighborhood, if they're committed to the neighborhood, we think that this is a really strong tool to help strengthen neighborhoods that haven't declined. There's some neighborhoods where we have seen a lot of economic duress. This is a program that really tries to focus on making sure that neighborhoods don't decline.
All right, and you are set to invest more than $11 million in this program this year. So
well, that covers the foreclosure program and problem as well. That's where the big money is going in, unfortunately, demolishing some homes, but also maintaining some homes and getting some renters into some homes as well.
Okay, good stuff. And you have talked about the confidence that you have in our police chief, Ed Flynn. So if you would stick around, I'd love to have him join us.
Let's see if we can find him.
And talk about some of the things that you're doing together to help make Milwaukee a safer place. So stay right there where you are. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue our conversation with Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett and be joined by a man who works to keep our city safe while commanding an agency of 2,000 sworn officers and 700 civilians. We'll meet Milwaukee's Police Chief Ed Flynn right after this.